Her books, her work, and her website attempt to offer inspiration to people who are committed to learning, growing, and seeking self-knowledge. Please give a warm welcome to Ariane.
Oh, welcome, welcome. It is a beautiful day to change lives. I'm going to share some insights, some observations about why it is that some people make changes. Why is it that some of you here are going to take some of this content and go do something with it, and some of you are not? Some of you are going to hang on to excuses. Some of you are going to go out and actually do something fantastic, change your life, find your purpose, get in touch with your intuition. Everyone I was meeting when I was traveling was going through some sort of change. And every single one of you in this room are as well. You're in one of three categories. You're either going through some sort of life change. You got married, you got pregnant, you've had a baby, you got divorced, you have a health diagnosis going on, you've adopted a child, you've lost a job, you've started a business. I can't cover all the changes, but there are lots of them. But you're in some sort of a life change, and it's bringing stuff up for you. Second category of people I met, and all of you are in this, is you're thinking about making a change. There's something going on that inner microphone is already sort of speaking to you. But you're thinking about maybe leaving a job, maybe pursuing a dream, maybe going back to school, maybe quitting smoking, maybe losing some weight. And the third category is a lot of people are helping someone else through change. So you're helping a spouse, you're helping siblings, you're helping children who have some sort of, issue going on. There is a fourth category that someone told me at a recent seminar, which is quite a few of us are waiting for someone else to change. Yes, the husband, the boyfriend, the teenager, the boss, whatever it might be. We'll put that aside for a while. But the other thing I started hearing is this. A lot of people would say to me, I hate change. I feel overwhelmed with change. I am bad at change. Give me my old life back. Give me the body back. Give me my money back. Give me the job back. But it was like this real resistance to change, and it was fascinating to me because I thought change is the number one constant in life. And yet we all hate it. We all resist it. If we could, we just want to avoid it completely. And I thought there must be a way to make change easier. And I'd never been told this. Obviously, I'd just been thrown into it. But I really wanted to get, why is it? Are there principles? Is it age? Is it are women better at change? What is it? And so I started casually interviewing people. I never thought I would be doing what I do now, believe me. I started casually interviewing people who were going through all these changes. So I interviewed over 1,000 people. And I sort of was asking questions and just listening to, are there sort of similarities at this point? And what I found is there are these, what I call these 9 principles of change that in some ways make a giant, giant difference. And unfortunately, I'm not going to go through all of them today. They are in the book for you to get. But what I am going to do is to tell you this. Change is the most important life skill. I don't know if you've ever gone through a course on change. It is the most important thing to get comfortable with. Are there any parents in the room? You must teach your kids to go through change. A lot of parents protect their kids from change. That's why we walk into this world and we're then terrified of change. So here's some insights, observations I'm going to sort of share with you very briefly. First one, I've mentioned it already, is the inner microphone. Here's what happens with the inner microphone. We shut it down, we shut it down, we shut it down, we shut it down. Today, at this incredible conference, I'm going to ask you to turn that microphone up. Get back in touch with that intuition, because I promise you, it's nothing we're going to say on stage that is going to give you your expertise and your guidance. You're the one who knows what is right for you. You know if you're done with a relationship. You know if you want to sort of go out there and pursue a dream or start a business or whatever it is. So what is it for you? The most important thing I ask myself is, what do I need to get honest about? What am I avoiding? What do I know has to change now? It's like now's the time. I got really fed up with having this external life and then having a totally different internal life. And when those two things are not in sync, I can tell you that creates stress in your life. that creates upset, it creates disappointment, it creates just this feeling of unease where, you're showing up in one way and then inside you're actually a totally different person. So your inner microphone is what's going to get you, in sync with the life on the outside that you've created. There are only so many things that get in the way of you actually making a change. I'd put them in 3 categories to be really brief. Your excuses, your stories, and your beliefs. So excuses, you can imagine after doing 7 years of this and interviewing over 10,000 people, I've heard a lot of the excuses of why people don't go through change. So I'm going to throw out a few today. You probably have your own and you can hang on to it. But here are a few. I'm too old. Anyone? I'm too young. Also, some people think they've got to do a certain amount of life before they can then sort of do what they want to do. It's not my nature. I'm not the sort of person that gets divorced. I'm not the sort of person that starts a business, but it's not my nature. Identity changes are some of the hardest changes we get to make. Here are 2 big ones. Someone's going to disapprove. Spouse, mother, father, best friend. Someone's going to give you a hard time if you make this change. It's a big one, big stopping block for people. Another one is it's going to take time, especially for women in the audience. I don't have time. How could I possibly do this? I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. It's going to cost money. Another big excuse. Or I'm not educated enough. I don't have the skills. What do I know about writing a book? What do I know about speaking? What do I know about any of these things? So those are sort of some of the excuses. And what I would say is you can make a choice here. You can get to hang on to your excuse, which a lot of people do and a lot of you will, or you can get a choice to go, who would I be without my excuse? If I didn't have this excuse, what would actually be possible? Find someone who doesn't have that excuse. There's so many beautiful people here today who sort of role model them. What's actually possible without the excuse? Stories. We are addicted to our stories. We have stories about why we can't lose weight, why we can't quit smoking, why we can't leave the safe corporate job because we have kids, why we got divorced, why our parents got divorced, why you're depressed. We are addicted to our stories. And I would say the same thing, if you've got a library, your life is sort of a library, and you've got a story about every single stage that's happened. If you want to create some space in that library, you need to remove some books. You need to sort of take some out and go, I'm actually going to create some space for something new. If you don't know what your stories are, if you're like, I don't know what my stories are, I promise you, ask your friends or your family. They will tell you, because you are boring them with your story. People who are good at change are very different in terms of what they believe. They do not feel they need to stick with conventional beliefs. We all grow up as part of a tribe. Our tribe is our family, our religion of birth, our friends, our teachers. Now's the time to go, what of these conventional beliefs works for me? Do I need to keep hanging on to them? I was a walking library of conventional beliefs. And sort of like, is this actually working for me? Do I want to keep these beliefs in place? Is this what actually is right for me? But look at sort of those beliefs that someone else is imposing on you, because that feels really uncomfortable when you're trying to sort of find your purpose and not someone else's, that someone has told you, you need to keep doing this, you need to stick with this. Hardwired programs, third insight I wanted to tell you about. As women, we are hardwired, and the men too, by the way. I know there's some great men in this audience. We are hardwired with 2 specific programs. One is the disapproval program, and the other is the perfection program. The average woman disapproves of herself about 50 times a day. Your hair, your heels, your weight, your face, your age, what you did, what you didn't do, what you said. I invite you to do what I call the 24-hour no disapproval challenge. From this time, for the next 24 hours, you try to not disapprove of yourself. Okay? Who's up for doing that, by the way? Okay, great. And just track yourself. Don't beat yourself up, but just track it, count it. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And you'll start seeing it actually go down. When you are not even in touch with that inner critic, it is running your life. And for me, it was a giant thing. I had so much disapproval going on, I can't even tell you. But start dropping that inner critic and the disapproval, because it is like rock solid around you, and it's rock solid around your heart. The perfection program. So many of us don't start something because we want to get it right. We want to be perfect. What about if I fail? What about if I'm scared? What about if I make mistakes? Look at how you have sort of blocked yourself from actually starting anything just with the desire to be perfect. You know, how much is in there? So much of our stress is by not giving ourselves permission to be human. So drop the disapproval program. There's so many other programs. We have the guilt program going on. We have the staying safe program going on. We have the I want to be in control program going on. So I'm just highlighting these for you, so if you guys have grown antenna on your head while I've been speaking, just sort of go, my God, I'm ruled by the staying safe program as an example. Characteristics of people who I've found are really good at change. There's a lot of these. I'm going to speed through them very quickly. One is they are optimists. We've got to give up this victim thing. We're really, really good. I'm a victim of this circumstance. This is what happened. Again, here's the story coming back in, right? But people who are good at change, they believe in themselves, but they really believe in life. They believe that life is on their side. They believe we live in a friendly universe. Even though something difficult, tragic, horrible happened, life is conspiring for good. Is that who you are? Like, do you actually believe you live in a friendly world, or you not? They do not ask for permission. They do not seek approval from the outside world. The world will eventually give you that approval. You need to give it to yourself first. They are very human. We need to give ourselves permission to make mistakes. We need to give ourselves permission to be scared. We need to give ourselves permission to be emotional. Emotions are what drive change. It is not your intellect. It's not your education. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. Getting in touch with your emotions is your fuel. That's ultimately what I would say is, as women, allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to sort of not know. Not knowing is actually a huge gift. And speed is not the motivator in change. Why you want to change is the motivator. Why? Why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to pursue your dreams? Why do you want more money? It's not the how. The how, I promise you, will come. But the why is what gets you off the couch. The why, whatever it is for you, that's actually what's going to be the motivator eventually coming through. People who are good at change, they give themselves a long runway to get their goals. Long runway. It's not January. It's not, I give myself 2 weeks or even a month to get this change done. What I would say is what I found is that most people really overestimate how much change they can get done in a month or a year. And because of that, we fail and we don't succeed and we don't pick ourselves up again. But we underestimate how much change is possible in 5 years or 10 years. Your life could be radically different. You are exactly where you need to be at the right time. If some force of God or nature brought you to this conference today, you're in exactly the right space. There's no, I'm late. There's no late bloomer. We live in an and world. We do not live in an either-or world. This was a big block for me, and it's a big block for a lot of women. You can be a mother and a businesswoman. You can be material and spiritual. You can change the world and, make a difference and make money. That was another big one for me. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go do, I want to serve and do charity work. You can do both. So ask yourself, where have you created your block? Where's your, oh my God, I'm going to have to choose between this role or this role? Because again, that's structurally, you're cutting yourself in two. The number one thing that was missing in my job was a sense of meaning, a sense of contribution, a sense that what I did with my life, my 100-hour week of jobs in New York City, that actually mattered, that it was actually something important, that I actually wanted to do something, that made a difference. And I scored pretty low on those. And so when I went out sort of looking for what I wanted to do with my life, that was probably the main thing I was looking for. Show me how I can serve. Show me how I can help my fellow human beings. And I think deep down, we're all craving that. It's the number one thing missing for anyone who doesn't like their job right now. I guarantee you that's probably the number one thing that you're not feeling. What I would say is this, it's a Mother Teresa quote that has helped me a lot throughout the last 10 years, which is, God does not require you to succeed. He or she only requires that you try. And what I would invite you to do today is just try. Like, you have no idea what's possible for you. You have no idea how strong you are, how courageous you are. Thank you very much. Thank you.